What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal development for INFJs and how to create an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about one of the most prominent traits of INFJs, and that's our intensity. It's something that we're all aware of. It's something that we try to hide from others because we're afraid of all the consequences, but mainly it's something that we experience every single day and we apply it mostly to our relationships. But the thing is this, you can find the right outlet for this intensity in such a way that still makes you feel safe, that makes you achieve things in life you never thought possible, and it will change your entire approach to your relationships and to every single thing you're trying to achieve. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you're ready to take the next step in creating your INFJ epic life and you want my help with it, then work with me privately. All the information you find below. So INFJ intensity, what is that all about? Every one of us knows exactly what that means, but in order to make it more tangible, maybe for people who are not familiar with this, or maybe you don't exactly know how to identify it, it's that feeling in us that we feel once we would bring it out, it would be too much. How many INFJs have you seen say, I'm afraid I'm too much? Every single time I bring this out of me, I feel like I'm gonna hurt people, I'm going to be way too intense for them, they're gonna back off, or I'm going to do something I can't take back. This is our inferior extroverted sensing. It is something that is hidden deep within us, but it's there all the time. And it has so much to do with this combination of extroverted sensing and introverted intuition. It is our vision that we can make something happen that is so extreme that it gets out of the comfort zone, that it's out of what the norm is. And the reason why we can do that is because firstly, we do have that force within us. Of course, our extroverted sensing isn't as strong as it would be for an ESTP, for example, or an ENFJ even, but we know exactly where to hit. And the reason why we know where to hit is because our introverted intuition is so strong. Since our introverted intuition is so strong and we have such a precise vision of what could happen, we could also use the limited amount of extroverted sensing, our force, we can pinpoint it and we know exactly where to hit to make a big impact. We've done it all. I've experienced it. I've talked to so many INFJs, not just in the comment section, but as you can imagine through my bootcamp with my clients. This is something that happens over and over again. We have the ability to do that. And it can be so powerful that it scares us because of all the consequences of it all. And so since we're so afraid of it, since we're afraid of the judgment we're going to perceive because of it, most of us don't apply it at all. And even if we do it in a very small circle. We do it maybe with the person that we once meet and we feel like, oh, I can trust that person. That person will be impressed by my force. This is a person who I can show this part of me to and they won't run away. They would actually appreciate it. They would want this. They would be enticed by it. And how often has this been the case when you, for example, had a crush on somebody you just met and then they vanished and you didn't realize what happened? For a moment there, they were mesmerized by your force, by the preciseness of your force, of how you can use your energy, that you can hit exactly where the biggest impact will happen. So how does that force, how does that intensity look like? It's not like you're going to hurt somebody necessarily. It's about that you can mentally hit an emotional atmosphere and change it. You have the ability to make people see things from a different perspective because it takes them back. It surprises them. And at the same time, it makes sense. But here's the twist. Here's the thing that I believe most INFJs never get to do and never get to really question. We do it on this small scale. I've done it for the longest time, and I've done it within my closest relationships because I was afraid of the consequences. What would it mean if I would say I'm not going to use this intensity in small portions and I'm gonna hide it from the majority of people because of all the judgment I will receive? That was what was keeping me stuck, and this is what keeps so many INFJs stuck. And that is why if you meet a person that that you feel, oh, they can not only handle my intensity, they actually appreciate it, they benefit from it, we get hooked to that person. Because it's like you're living in this world where you're a prisoner of your own mind. You're a prisoner of what you actually want to be and want to bring out. And then you see one outlet, one opportunity to really feel alive because you're being seen for who you are. You're being seen including this intensity of yours. And that is what keeps us stuck to those people. When in reality, most of the time, this isn't a healthy thing. Because the people who get so mesmerized by it, they're the ones who have a dependency on it. And that means the moment you take it away from them because you want to regain autonomy, they will back off. They will be mad at you. There will be a confrontation, or at least they will be so upset about the loss of control and the control that you're gaining by taking that away from them that there will always be a break. I've experienced this so often in my life. And as I said, it's not just me. It's something that so many INFJs experience over and over again. And it took me the longest time to understand why this is happening. But as I said, if we have only this one little outlet and we have this one chance of feeling alive, feeling seen, we're gonna put way too much pressure onto this. We're going to fight for it although that person backs off. We're putting too much at stake, and the other person is as well. And at some point, this thing will turn sour. I've had relationships where this intensity was really high and we could both kind of handle it, but that happens very rarely. And till this day, I don't believe that this is the right way to do it. Because if you approach it this way, then the other person becomes your solution. Your happiness becomes dependent on how your relationship with that person is. And this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be a best friend. It can be somebody that you know through a mentorship. It doesn't matter. If you have a feeling of that person is the only person who can see me for who I am, you're in big trouble. And at the same time, it's such a human response. It's so natural. So how do you change that? How do you get out of all of this? Well, as I've mentioned before, for me, I really had to hit rock bottom. I was depending so much on one person to see my value that I was putting everything into this relationship. I was giving myself up. I had reality breaks. I was giving up absolutely everything that I was. I was hollowing myself out in order to understand the other person better. You know this thing that is typical for empaths. The things that you actually see on the internet, on other videos, and is considered like, oh, this holy grail. It's like I'm something special because I allow myself to absorb everything about another person, to be a part of their life, of their movie, and to give them something they have never experienced before. And the price I want for this, the thing that I want in return, is for them to see, appreciate, and encourage my intensity. But the price is way too high. And you'll see how many people are not willing to pay it because you want to play with such high stakes. Why? Because of your intensity, because of the strength that you have to sustain in such situations. I've seen it with other types that they can stay in, let's say, physically draining situations, so staying up forever or staying in situations where you have to be physically strong and active. This isn't us. But what happens to us INFJs, and when I say what happens to us, it's something that we actively do. We have this ability to sustain so much stress. We're able to sustain so much mental intensity that we want to prove that. And we want to live that out. That makes us feel alive. But we do it at the expense of our own well-being. And this isn't something that only happens to INFJs. This is something that happens with every personality type, but with different things. And this will continue to happen until you say, that's enough, here's a boundary. I don't need to prove to myself how much pain I can sustain. I want to live an intense life. I want to use that gift of mine, but I'm not willing to put my well-being on the front line for it. And it takes some time to get to that point. Maybe you need to hit rock bottom like I did, but hopefully you won't. Because the solution in the end is amazing. You just have to be open for it. The solution is that you stop putting this intensity in front of your relationships. Your relationships are supposed to be the thing that makes you feel at peace, that makes you feel free. You know, your partner, your friend, whoever it is that you have this relationship with, they're not supposed to be your solution, because every single time you look at them and you think that will be my life, then it will make sense. It's all projection. You're projecting your vision of your great life onto that person, and the expectations rise, and that person has their own agenda. They will never be what you want them to be, because your vision is you. It's not them. So if you understand this, and if you know that this is not the right place for your intensity, how are you going to use it? Well, the thing is this: bring out your gifts. Do the things that you're afraid people are gonna judge you for. Do the things that make you stand out, and stop waiting for judgment to come or not to come, or being afraid of that nobody's going to accept you and you're gonna be lonely from that moment on, because once they see that you're too different, too intense, nobody will want to spend any time with you. That's the moment where you have to say, I don't care. I will put this intensity out and I accept myself with it. And because of your intensity, you can achieve things that others wouldn't even dream about. And then when you create those results, you'll see people will look at you differently. When I started this channel, this was something that I was so afraid of, because nobody in my life understood this. Before that, they could project onto me that I'm this cool chick, that I'm that person that is just like everybody else and everything they would want in their life, or whatever they wanted to project on me. The moment I started expressing myself in this way, people recognized, oh, she actually is really different. This isn't the norm. She isn't who I thought she was. Like, even my best friends, all my life, they've been telling me, no, you're not any different than us. You're just like us. You're unique. Like, every one of us is unique. The moment I started going this path, my friends honestly told me, yeah, you are different. There really is something that is unique about you. And I had to first off accept it, because of course judgment comes with this. Of course people will look at you differently. Of course there won't be this relationship dynamics that you had before. But it's the perfect outlet for your gifts. It's the perfect outlet for your intensity. You get to tap into what makes you you. And there's nothing that will make you feel more alive. And once you start doing this, once you start applying this intensity to your entire life and not just to this one person, you'll see how your dependency on that one person, if they understand your intensity or not, it just vanishes. Because you already took on the risk of being rejected by the world. Once you do this step, yes, it's scary, it can be devastating, but in the end, it takes like a day or two. Really not more than this, because it hits you like a brick. And once you face it, you're free of it all. You feel it, you heal it, and then you're free. And you'll see how your intensity will create an amazing outlook on your life, and it will create a circumstance you never thought possible. Nowadays, I don't feel like I'm intense. I know from time to time I see people reacting to how my life is, but for me it feels like a normal day, but a day that makes me happy over and over again. You deserve this too, so allow this intensity to come through in your entire life. Show it to the world you're strong enough to handle all the judgment that will come your way. You'll grow from it and you'll become stronger, and with that you'll gain a freedom you never thought possible. I really hope that helped you and inspired you to tap into your gifts and to allow yourself to live an INFJ epic life. Remember, if you want my personal help with this, then work with me privately. All the information you find below. And if you want to watch another video now that is in line with today's topic, then watch my video on INFJ anger. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I talk to you next time.